Ladies and sinners, welcome to another Tuesday evening edition of the Sin City Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. We're back at it again, folks, every Tuesday evening, Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We talk all things Vegas sports. This is IE Vegas. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. You can get at us on our Twitter forums at SinCity_IESR. At Cale_Henderson's my personal, where we talk all things Vegas sports, and we do have a lot to talk about in this short half-hour period. I apologize for being late. Had a high school football game tonight, a reserve game, if you will. Our team won. Really proud of those boys. Really proud of the coaching staff that I'm with. Listen, folks. New program, new school. We're learning on the fly. Faced some adversity tonight, won 14-10. Probably had more negative plays than positive plays tonight. But the boys fought. The coaches kept coaching. All signs of a great culture. All signs of good things to come. And we have a lot of dogs on our team, man. And I'll say this. For only freshmen and sophomores, having 65 kids isn't too shabby either. So we know that we're going to get some really good classes here in the near future, and we're really excited about it. So congrats to the Lincoln Standing Bear Grizzlies for winning tonight, 14-10 against Blair. Really, really happy. And, I'll tell you what, man, it's Drewski. I'll say this. It was a fourth down. Guys, fourth down on the 10-yard line for Blair. They didn't convert. We held them on a fourth and goal situation. That is guts. Especially when you were in a really bad spot penalty-wise. Turnover margin, they probably won. I think the referees, I might be a bystander. I think the referees were shit. But it is what it is. Like, they called back 3 touchdowns on us. Reality is, we're winners. They won. They faced adversity. They didn't cower. They didn't curl up into a ball. They punched this team in the mouth, and I'm proud of it. Because that's the type of football we're going to have to play in this division. So really, really proud of the boys, really proud of the players. A lot to grow with. I straight up got on, because we have 2 buses. I got on both buses, said, hey, man, I'm effing proud of you guys. I wanted them to hear it, because I wanted them to know it's not going to be perfect all the time, but we're still behind them, right? I want them to enjoy today, and then we can grill them tomorrow on how bad the film looks, because I'm sure it'll be pretty bad. But still really proud. Really proud. A lot of fun. No, it shouldn't have been close, Drewski. Yeah, we had I think we had 2 touchdowns called back on the same drive, and then a third one. They were just bad calls, man. Like, no matter what, it should have been, at the very worst, it should have been 28-10. I think it isn't so much that the fouls were called. 1, they were non-existent, because I've already kind of taken a peek at those plays. 2, it was the timing. When your player makes a big play and reaches the end zone, and after he reaches the end zone, the referee calls the play, it's pretty ridiculous, especially when it's like 50 yards back. Positives, we had a 91-yard touchdown tonight, which is a Standing Bear record. Yeah, you guys heard it. 91-yard touchdown pass tonight on a vertical route. And just for you folks to know, we're pretty legit, because we have freshmen and sophomores running the air raid offense. Yes, you guys heard it here first. 14-year-olds running the air raid, which isn't easy. And they're kicking ass and taking names. So we're really excited. Really, really a lot of positive things. More negative plays than positive plays. But I can tell you this. The kids persevered. They got punched in the mouth. They punched back. And that's all that matters to me, man. That's why I'm super proud today. Super happy to get a win. And now we can talk about all things Vegas sports. But before we do that, we got to talk about our sponsor. The flagship show, right? And before we talk about that, we got to talk about our sponsor, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This is all beef brisket jerky, is gluten-free option, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, low in sugar, and high in protein. This is some of the best jerky you can get your hands on. And for a limited time, you can win 4 tickets to see the Storm for your bags of jerky. All you have to do is visit planetjerky.net. Place your order, follow Planet Jerky at Planet Jerky, and DM them. That bought you your jerky and hearing this ad. You will then be entered in the raffle that ends on Tuesday, August 1st. Once again, huge shout out to our sponsor, Planet Jerky, premium brisket beef jerky. The jerky that's on a whole other planet. And then we got to talk about our flagship show, IE Sports Radio. For the last 9 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep up with the latest in sports with our shows. Also, check out our website, iesportsradio.com, for sports news, the IE Sports Radio blog, our Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month, pages dedicated to each podcast on the network, and IE Sports Radio Community Forum. And stop by the store and check out the latest merch. Thank you all for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. Want to thank everybody in the chat. Taryn, as always, being a great teammate. It's Drewski. Thank you so much. Even though I get it. You may cover one of the hated teams, one of my hated teams growing up as a child, but I respect you, man, because you're always in here. You're a great teammate. A lot of love, man. Thank you, Taryn, for the love. Thank you, Larry, as always, for supporting, especially because you've been a coach, so you understand the rigorous hours it takes sometimes. Sometimes you have to get together with the other coaches, celebrate the win, and that's kind of what took so long. We watched a little bit of film, had a bit of a meeting, talked about the dudes we have and what we need to do moving forward, and put a game plan together, because the next opponent's not going to be easy. They're going to be really tough. But I want to thank everybody for being here. UNLV women's volleyball went 2-1 last weekend, beating Colorado and Campbell, both in 4 sets before losing to North Texas in 3 sets. Yeah, UNLV is going to have some serious. I think we're going to see an uptick in sports. I don't know about the football team. I will be honest. I think Barry Odom's got a lot to work with. I don't think the former coach should have been fired. I think he was doing a great job. And I also don't think that he was given the benefit of the doubt, because the dude was literally hired on the COVID year, and I don't know if anybody really coached or played. I don't know if their teams played that well in their first year in COVID. I mean, look at Nebraska. Scott Frost was absolutely horrible. So I feel like he should have gotten a bit of a break, and then the very following year, you let the guy go. I mean, he didn't really have a chance to get his own recruiting class. So it is what it is. Barry Odom's taken over the program. Hopefully he does an amazing job. I don't know. He's in a Mountain West conference. He probably will be in a bigger conference moving forward, because I believe the Pac-12 is going to be desperate to fill the needs that they're losing with Washington, Oregon. I mean, realistically, or Arizona. Dude, when you lose Arizona State, how bad of a conference are you? Like, those could be the 2 most irrelevant teams in Pac-12. 2 most irrelevant teams in the Pac-12. And they're just running to the Big 12 with their tail between their legs. You lost Colorado, which is a rebuilding team. Coach Prime is going to bring them a ton of notoriety. But how bad is your conference that you can lose those teams? I think it's horrible. Utah's going to the Big 12. I'm a big fan of Utah. I like the way Kyle Whittingham coaches. I think Utah goes in there and they beat the living daylights out of a lot of those Big 12 teams, because they just play big boy bully ball. They don't care. They don't care if you're USC and you have a ton of 5-star talent and a 5-star coach with an $11 million mansion paid for by the university. They don't give a crap about that. Utah plays their brand of football, and I think they're slept on. I don't think any coach in the country has done more with less than Kyle Whittingham at Utah, and I stand by that 100%. Does he win the big game? No. Does he make it to big games? Absolutely. I mean, who thinks that what if I told you Utah made it to the Rose Bowl 2 straight seasons? Who would have thought that? Utah Utes, Salt Lake City, the Pac-12. Who would have thought the Utah Utes? And what if I told you that they were beating the Ohio State Buckeyes before losing to them? What if I told you that Utah team beat a Heisman-winning Caleb Williams and didn't just beat them, like they whooped him? Put a ton of pressure on him. Made him look like a guy that probably wasn't ready for the NFL in that one specific game. Not saying he isn't, because he is. He's an excellent player. The reality is Utah just knows how to play that physical brand of football that today's I think today's kids struggle with, and I don't think they get enough credit. So I believe that UNLV will be in that conference soon. I think the Big 12 makes a ton of sense. If they don't go to the Big 12, it's going to be a filler in the Pac 12. But right now, Pac 12 just really has nobody. I think they have Oregon State, and that's about it. Sad day, man, because UCLA and USC is going to the Big 10. Washington and Oregon are going to the Big 10. Your top four teams, arguably, in the Pac 12 are going to the Big 10. We don't know what's going to happen with Stanford. They could stay. They might as well be a parochial school at this point. Just kidding. But they have high scholastic standards. So I don't know if they will change because they're kind of I mean, man, they're a mainstay. But if they were to go anywhere, I would imagine the Big 12 would be the stop. I just think the Big 12 is full of teams. And the Cardinals there in Stanford are a rebuilding team. So I don't know if that'd be a good fit. I really don't. I don't know if it'd be a good fit. But UNLV, I think they have a chance to surprise some people. I just don't know if it's going to be. I can't guarantee it's going to be a winning season because you have a new coach, you have a new personality, a new culture, and you hope the best for Barry Odom, but you can't expect the best, right? Because Barry Odom has been a head coach a couple times and he just hasn't had a lot of success. Hopefully he finds it here in UNLV. I think the new resources available, the ability to play at Allegiant Stadium, Raiders Stadium, which is a beautiful stadium, the new $40 million facilities for recruiting and practice and the cafeteria for the meals and everything for the players. I think that's going to help bring in a lot of recruits. I think they have excellent jerseys. The black and red is really cool. The Rebels know what they're doing. They're in a great town to live in if you're a college student. Like Vegas wouldn't be bad. It's expensive, but it wouldn't be bad. So I think they're in a good spot. They just got to find a better way to, market their brand. And maybe they do a better job if they move to a Pac-12. More TV deals. I just don't see the Pac-12 lasting very long at this point because your big dogs have left, and there goes the TV negotiation, right? There goes the price negotiations for TV deals. They've been with Fox for a while. I don't know if Fox is going to care anymore. If you don't have USC, if you don't have Oregon, if you don't have UCLA, why would they care? So the Big 12, the Pac-12 is going to make a lot of changes. Hopefully UNLV can be a part of that and get more money and become a bigger program than what they're used to being. But we'll see what happens because it takes a lot of red tape, to get to that point. Las Vegas Lady Aces are still absolutely killing the WNBA. Las Vegas Lady Aces are atop of the WNBA with a landslide, by the way. Standings are as such. They are 30-6. I guess the next most relevant team would maybe be the Liberty in the Eastern Conference at 28-7. But regardless, the Aces are still just that much better. I mean, they're 15-2 in conference, 16-1 at home, 14-5 away, and they've been resting their players quite a bit. I mean, they have such a big lead in the standings that they're not worried. They clinched a playoff spot. They've clinched a playoff spot about a month ago. That's how far and away ahead the Lady Aces are compared to the rest of the WNBA. You have three players in your team, and AJ Wilson, Jackie Young, and Kelsey Plume that are averaging around 19 points a game, or 19 points or more a game. In the WNBA, that's legit, right? Candace Parker at 38 years old is still rebounding like a madwoman, almost double-digit rebounds a game. You're getting a team effort, and you're getting somebody at 38 years old that's still able to show these young people how to win. They're defending champs, and they're probably not going to be beat. It's going to be really tough for a team to beat them. I I truly see probably a rematch between the Sun and the Aces. I just don't see the Sun. They don't have the matchup, the same matchup Liberty does. But I think that Suns are a matchup nightmare for the Liberty. So it feels to me that the Aces could repeat. They have the players, they have the culture, they have the coach. They continue to figure out ways to win and dominate for that matter. And again, 3 players on your team that average around 19 points a game, 19 points or more a game is incredible in the WNBA. So I just don't. I think they have a better bench too. They have better young talent, which helps a ton. I just don't think any team in the WNBA is as deep as the Lady Aces, and we could be looking at a dynasty if they win this year, and I think they will. I have a hard time believing they won't win. And you're right, it's Drewski. The Aces are on another level. They're just playing different. They're kind of like the WNBA's bully, right? They're just bigger. They play bigger. They score well. They rub it in your face. They don't care. I like their style. 100% makes that all of their chips. They throw all their chips on the table every single game. They don't care. Unapologetically. They play like they're playing with house money. And yes, these are Vegas references. It's cheesy. I don't give a shit. I love it. That's why I'm the Vegas host. If you don't like it, I mean, I guess you can go to Larry B, but I love it. That's what we do. Las Vegas Raiders. Glad we can get to them. Not a bad preseason. I will say, man, there's been a lot of surprises. So I guess what we'll do is we'll kind of go through, kind of give you guys an idea. I'm going to give you a preseason grade. I would actually give them a B+. Now listen, preseason doesn't mean shit. Right? Like preseason doesn't mean a damn thing if it doesn't correlate to what you need to do in the regular season. Right now, every team is playing the most vanilla version of football they can with second and third stringers. They're trying to figure out how to cut from 90 guys to 53 guys in a matter of 4 or 5 weeks, for that matter. So it's not easy. I would not want to be a GM or a head coach at this time of year because you're always leaving. If you're doing a good job in your culture, you're always leaving really good dudes off the roster. Like the Saints are a perfect example. They believe that they have 60 guys that could play or start or get quality playing time in the NFL. They're going to have to cut 7 of those 60 dudes that they believe are really good players to make room for the 53. That happens for every team. The Raiders are no different. They're going to make some cuts, and they cut from 90 to 53. So the Raiders do have their 53-man roster. What I would say, okay, I'll say it like this. I think the Raiders had a B+ grade for the preseason. I think you saw a lot of bright spots. I still think the offensive line is going to be absolute crap. I don't think they'll be very good. The bright spots. Here are the highlights to this preseason. Probably the number one highlight. Josh Jacobs signed a 1-year, $12 million deal. So slightly above the franchise tag. I will wear egg on my face. I have no problem admitting it to you Raiders fans. I didn't think Josh Jacobs would be back. I didn't think Josh Jacobs would be back. Now that Josh Jacobs is back, I have full faith that Devontae Adams will be on the roster week 1. If you guys were listening to the show a couple months back, and again, I will take the egg on my face, I didn't think either one of those players would be back because it would be a Raiders thing to do to trade your best running back and one of the best receivers in the NFL to other teams. 100%. So, happy with those outcomes. I'm hoping it translates to something. What I can tell you is I give high grades, 1, to the front office for making the Josh Jacobs work. I'm a fan of Dave Ziegler. I think you guys know that. I've said that for months. I think he'll be here. I believe that if Josh McDaniels has another losing season, and it's another one of those seasons where like you lose 7 games with a 2-score lead going into the fourth quarter, I think Josh McDaniels is gone. So I think Dave Ziegler stays, Josh McDaniels is gone. There's also a possibility, and again, I will wear egg on my face when it happens, that Josh McDaniels and them outperform our expectations. Maybe they win 10 games. Maybe they sneak into the playoffs. This schedule is brutal. The Raiders' schedule is absolutely brutal. They play in the AFC West, and the Chiefs are doing nobody any favors by winning a ton of games. But listen, even as the Vegas host, I love my Vegas Raiders. I'm going to be realistic with you guys. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers still have better rosters. They still have better rosters. So, grade for the Raiders, I give them a B+ because I think they're playing very, very tough. They're playing resilient. You see them, they are playing the style of offense and defense that you can totally tell this staff was trying to do last year. But you're going from West Coast to probably schemes that are a lot harder than what players were playing the year before. That's the reality. I think these schemes, the Earhart, the Coryell Earhart system on the offensive side of the ball, and that modified 3-4 with, I think it's tougher for players to learn if you haven't had repetitions than the West Coast and a 4-3 cover 3 defense. That simple. So I'll say it like this. I think the Raiders have a possibility to have a winning season. I really do. If Jimmy Garoppolo stays healthy and the Raiders are more efficient on offense, and this is no shot at Derek Carr, because I am a Derek Carr fan. I think he was kind of done dirty, and I'll also say this: he brought some on himself. I think this last season he was just kind of tired of the Raiders. I mean, when you're on your sixth head coach in 9 years, I understand it. I get it. It's no excuse for him to play poorly, because he did play poorly. I also don't think he had a lot of help. The offensive line was absolute hot garbage last year. They allowed pressures on 48% of their snaps last year. It was like they were in the bottom 10 of the league when it came to that statistic. What saved them is they had an all-world running back. Again, I give the front office kudos for making a deal with that all-pro running back. The problem is you're going to be in the same situation next year. And I'll say it's a bold statement now. Josh Jacobs won't be back on the roster next year because there's absolutely no way the Raiders are going to pay this man going into his sixth year, $12 million a year or more for a duration, like 4 years. It's not going to happen. That's just not the way the NFL works these days. The running back is screwed in this league. Like something happened to where the business in itself said, hey, let's just get 4 backs and let's run them equally and see what happens. Reality. That's the reality of this new system. So let's put it like this. I think you see a team that has potential. I give them a B plus because they perform well. I give Aiden O'Connell an A. I think he's been decisive. I think he's been a really, really good player. I loved him coming out of Purdue. I was surprised, the Raiders picked him in the 4th. I think they could have gotten him later, but maybe they knew something I didn't. Maybe they knew there were teams that were looking at his ass. And at this point, I see why. He's been decisive. He's making all of the throws. He has a much bigger arm than I expected. But Jeff Brom does a really good job. He's an excellent quarterbacks coach in college. And he asks a lot of his players. And it shows that Aiden O'Connell is a very, very smart quarterback. He's a smart player. He's operating this offense like he's been playing in it for 5 years. It looks impressive. Very impressive with some of the throws that he makes. Aiden Connell, I give an A. I give Josh McDaniels a B. And I've been harsh on Josh. I think the team is playing to his personality. I think they're playing smart, and I think they're playing physical. I think that's what he wants. And I can see it in the preseason, but it's got to translate to the main season, the regular season. And I'll close with this. I think the Raiders can win a lot of games. I think they win 10-plus games if they stay consistent on offense and Jimmy Garoppolo stays healthy. Because if he stays healthy, the offense is going to operate very smoothly. This will be like his 6th or 7th year in this particular offense. Because, again, he spent 5 years learning behind Tom Brady, the greatest there ever was, in this offense. He knows what he's doing. He's going to be more comfortable. He's going to get healthier as the year goes on, as long as he doesn't get banged up too bad. What I'm worried about is this defense. I don't think they have any depth in the secondary at all. I'm worried about this defense. Do I think they'll make more plays than years past? Yes. Yes, I think they'll make more plays. But I will say this. If they were in the AFC South, they'd probably win it. Because the Jaguars are really good. I don't think they're better than the Raiders. But the fact that they're in the AFC West and they play the Chargers and they play the Chiefs, that sucks. And the Broncos won't be a slouch either. Sean Payton's going to do some work. So reality is, I think the Raiders are playing for third best. We've said it for months. I wish it weren't true, but it is what it is. And I wish them nothing but the best, man. I hope they win 12 games and it's egg on my face. I will say it first thing first, just like I did in the previous cut when Spreaker decided to shut down. I straight up said, I thought Josh Jacobs would be on another team week 1. I was wrong. I hope I'm wrong about Josh McDaniels, and I hope I'm wrong about this season. Just educated guess. I don't think I will be. This is the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. You guys can get at us on our IE Sports Radio Twitter page, as well as my personal at Cale_Henderson, where we talk all things Vegas sports. Thank you for tuning into this short episode. Again, thank you. Apologies for getting on late, but I really appreciate the attendance. Any questions, reach out. And as always, love, peace, and hair grease, folks.